guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today is going to be one of those weirdo reviews. If you're here, then you already realize that we're going to be talking about a custom version of the Centurion Pack. But that's not all. Of course, it said and more. Well, the and more really will be the gut gun for Cheetor. That's been, again, custom painted. As well as some 3D printed stuff. All of this, I'm going to say it now before we get into anything, all of this comes from either our buddy Dragonfly or our buddy Justin from the 3D Corner. It's a mix of things here. Right now they're all just in this here box, along with their respective character counterparts. You'll see what I mean when we jump into all of these accessories and how well a resin cast of that set could work out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. So this is a box of like a lot of older characters, but now they are enhanced, we'll say, with extra accessories. For example, we have a resin cast that was done of Sideswipe's backpack. We have a resin cast that was done of Reflector, of Soundwave. All of these things that we know from the Centurion Pack. The only things that I didn't get a resin cast of is Roller, which I didn't really need a roller, and it would really be too hard to kind of cast something that big, I think. And of course, the Centurion himself. I wasn't able to get that. I don't like the way that set was offered, released, but I am very glad that Dragonfly had the creativity, the know-how, and the wherewithal to be able to provide this to me. Also in here, thanks to our buddy Justin from the 3D Corner, we will take a look, kind of, at the Worlds Collide Bumblebee that no longer is Bumblebee. He is now somebody else. We will take a look at the Dinomus set, or, well, kind of a version of it. You'll see what I mean when we get there, because of the coloration, really. We will look at some upgrades that could be used with the Kingdom Scorponok as well. So there's a lot here. This is a unique type of review. This is something really different, and I guess I could have broken this up into a few videos and kind of done things a little more, I don't know, like unique for each little piece. But you know what? I figured, why not kind of kick off the new year with something interesting, something different, something that we could sort of dig our teeth into, and you guys can see what it is I have, and you can see how I've painted it, colored it, whatever, customized it, and whether or not you think you could do that with yours. Should do that with yours. It's a lot here. It's a lot here. This is going to be a fun one. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at all these things. So yes, indeed, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a accessory extravaganza, if you will. As I previously mentioned, this is basically the customized, custom painted, custom cast version of the Centurion Pack that came out. I don't have the Centurion, I don't have Roller, but I do have everything else that our buddy Dragonfly was good enough to cast for me in this resin that he uses. I'll kind of show you what the like a basic piece, a couple of basic pieces look like without paint or anything. I think he may have explained the process on his channel. It's a lot more than what I'm capable of doing, and I absolutely applaud him for his ability. Are these perfect? Well, I mean, it's kind of like a garage kit, right? Like, I mean, it's something that was done at home. Just, it was, He figured it out. It's as simple as that. Some of the pieces cast better than others, of course, but I'm just thankful to have this at all. It wasn't released in my country, so I didn't get that pack. I was okay with it being cast the way it was because I knew a lot of it was going to have to be painted anyway, so I mean it is what it is. As well, thanks to our buddy Justin from the 3D Corner, we actually have a couple of things here that are 3D printed, and I figured, you know what, I'll throw that in here as well, and we can take a look at that as well. Perhaps the one that you noticed the most here, just in our initial smattering, is Dinobot with the Dinomus add-on kit basically put on him. Yes, this one is in red. It will, of course, make it stand out to you guys a little bit more. This was a test print, so it's not perfect, but it's not bad either. So, what we'll do is we'll look at one thing at a time here, and we'll get through it all, and then I'll let you know kind of if I think that this worked or not at the end, and you, of course, can let me know what you think worked and didn't work. Okay, so our story actually kind of starts here. What we have here is a blue resin cast of Cheetor's gut gun from the Transformers Red Cheetor. It has like all the detailing in it naturally. Something like this would have to go painted. The blue was a different material, according to Dragonfly, that he was trying to use. I think that this version of the gut gun worked out really well. I had another version of that gut gun that came with the red Cheetor that was cast in this more translucent material, and it's solid. Honestly, it's solid. Like, it's not gonna break or anything. This is a version of Soundwave, and again, while you probably can't pick out the detailing, it's all there. And this is what I usually start out with when he sends this to me. It's usually just this kind of translucent-y color, and I need to do the rest of the work with it. Case in point, Kremzeek and some little doodads here. So this is done in the blue. It's basically an energon canister. I have a couple of more of these that are done in pink and silver. I haven't painted this one yet, but it's just a little energon canister. It's pretty neat, I guess. There's also these. I didn't know what they were, but apparently they're like from the movie Ark, that little like set that came out that like Cyberverse or Little Legion class could scale with, and I think these are supposed to be scanners, or maybe the three of them open a space bridge. They might be space bridge, I don't even know what you call them, scanners or identifiers or whatever. Painted silver with a red highlight. I don't know if that's correct, but he did do these for me. I could use them certainly as part of a set with the base. You'll notice that the handle is still translucent. I didn't paint the handle because it would stick into some hole. I mean, I could use these on 5mm ports, because these are 5mm. I could use these on 5mm ports on Metroplex or on, I don't know, Fort Max, for example, yeah, okay. Or I guess I could use them for the Decepticons if I was so inclined. And I have 3 of those. And then he did a Kremzeek. The arm is sadly broken off, this one. He painted the red on it, but he done it in this almost opaque type of blue color. And he done another one that he painted purple and done the red on it as well. This one is fully intact. Of course, this Kremzeek is the Kremzeek that was in the pack with Reflector. It was the I guess toy color reflector set, and it came with a little Kremzeek. Then there was this one, and this one was unpainted, so I did the red, and I wanted it to look like that yellow. I wanted it to look like a proper Kremzeek. So what I did here is I actually got a hickory stain. Yes, and I knew if I messed it up, it was going to be a big mess on me. But the stain really worked. A long time ago, actually kind of compared the actual one and this one. There's a picture up somewhere on social media. I may have compared them when I looked at the Reflector 3-pack a long time ago, where I looked at the actual Kremzeek. I might have mentioned this one there. But it turned out pretty well. A little bit lighter, like not as deep of a yellow as the actual one, and the red is a little rougher because the mold was a little rougher, but not bad, man. This fits the bill for me as Kremzeek. Yes, none of these things are part of the Centurion pack. They're all little odds and ends doodads. They're not the only odds and ends doodads that I have, though. The next two are 3D printed from Justin. So both of these things were printed off by our buddy Justin from the 3D corner. The back, I don't know what you call it, the back rectangle there is a little cassette case that can open and close. It should be able to fit the cassettes for the War for Cybertron lads that go with Soundwave. And the white head here that you probably can't see all the detail on that well is a bumper head that can go on the War for Cybertron Bumblebee mold or the Cliff Jumper mold or whatever. Naturally, it would need to be painted. You probably can't pick out the detail here, but we'll see another finished version of this head in just a little bit. And next up, we stick with our buddy Justin from the 3D corner, and he printed me off, I'll call it a couple of upgrades for the Kingdom Scorponok. One is this waist piece. I have a second one here that's not installed. And basically all you do is you pop the waist off. I'm not gonna lie, that is a bit of a chore to do. It is not the most convenient mushroom pegs to get to. And then you put the upper body into the top down here, and the lower body mushroom peg goes into the waist section. So it's pretty, it just elongates the body slightly. Then you'll notice that we have a thigh here that's longer than the other thigh. It's done in purple here so that really you can see the difference. And really what you do is you pop the mushroom peg of the thigh off, you put this extra piece on, and it makes the guy taller. The thigh piece looks like this. Again, we have an opening for a mushroom peg there. We have a mushroom peg down here. So basically all you're doing, I left this leg so I could show you guys, is you come here and pop that off. You take the... Oh, the waist just came out. Oh no! Since this happened anyway, this is my chance to show you the mushroom peg should go in right here on the waist. I'm just assuming that that was painful for you to watch, just like it was painful for me to try and attempt to do. It kind of does the transformation. Apparently the legs don't go up and fill this in anymore. They just kind of hang out back here. Okay, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know if anything can save the Scorponok mold. It wasn't good to begin with. Solid set and all, just it goes on a kind of a trash mold. Now all that being said, here he is next to Cheetor, so I mean you can see that, yeah, he's definitely taller. He's definitely, I think, more probably the size he should be. Maybe he was that small. I just don't remember him that small. I don't know. I wish that I liked the transformation more. I like the articulation, I like the texturing on the guy, but the transformation just isn't enjoyable to me. That being said, since we have Cheetor here, you'll notice he has an extra accessory. And that extra accessory is, of course, his gut gun. Now, I'm going to show this up closer, but you can see, he can hold it in his hand just fine. This is the one that came with the red Cheetor. There you go. So, again, you can see, the color match is not bad, all things considered. The gold, I love. The guts color, I love how that turned out. Of course, I did not do the handle because he has to hold it, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It's too bad it can't store in cat mode. This was a cast by our buddy Dragonfly, and I think it was a successful one. Before we move on to the other casts, we have a couple of 3D printed items left to kind of clue off. This is a painted version of that bumper head. I put it on the Worlds Collide Bumblebee body. By the way, to get the head apart, that was Bumblebee's. I destroyed it, so it will never go on. I didn't need another Bumblebee, but you know who I didn't have? Bumper. The general shape of the head and the visor, I'm real happy with. The nose is fine. The way the mouth and lower jaw is a little mushy. It wasn't the best... I don't want to say designed. There wasn't much detail put in for the lower face. Nevertheless, I love the way that this head turned out, and naturally the guy could still transform with it on. And now I have a version of Bumper, which makes me pretty happy. And the last of our 3D printed things is the Dinomus set. Now, a lot of people print this in a gold color, or they have painted it. I have not painted it. This was a bit of a rough print. This was like a first run, so to speak. So there's things here that are good and things here that don't quite have the fit and finish that you know, tweaking would give it. I think it's an okay set. I don't see any way to actually transform him with all of this stuff on him. Maybe you can. I don't really see a way to do it. I find if I move the shoulders, that the shoulder pads do move a little bit. You can reposition them just fine. The blaster, it fits in excellent. I'm going to say hand blasters, thrusters, whatever, that's in the middle of his palm, they fit in perfect. Then we get to the waist. The waist on mine fits in tremendously well. Some people have said that they don't find that the waist stays on, it tends to fall off. I don't find that, at least not with this print. It stays on really, really well. And the pieces on his forearms, one of them stays on pretty good, the other doesn't. However, because of the bulk that's on them, it does limit the range of motion on the elbow, and you definitely won't be able to transform I'll say arms, really, with the pieces on them. At least not that I can discern. In terms of the arm pieces, like, you know, I guess you could bend the elbow up. This one wants to go apart, up about that far, and this is, like, it's supposed to go into, yeah, see, that one likes to fall off. The fit and finish just isn't there for it. This one too, like, I know it's the print, but I don't like these things, and I know it's the print. The only thing I did not include is the alternate head. His mouth is open, his head spikes are a little more spiky. This is an excellent head sculpt. According to Justin, you just pop this head off and pop this one on. Now, as I mentioned, trying to get the head off of the Bumblebee to put the bumper head on, I destroyed the head. I'm not willing to destroy the head for this one that would need to go custom painted. I'm not planning on having this guy be Dominus, so, like, you know, I think like Dominus, I think was like a Herald of Unicron. It was one of the fates on the collector cards, right? Or Dinomus, whatever. It's a beautiful head sculpt. I'm not going to be the one to change it out, but I can't argue if you choose to do so. Solid set, honestly, solid little upgrade set if you want to homage that version of Dinobot. For the record, if you actually did want to leave those parts on Dinobot and they didn't stay fit together on his forearms and whatnot, and your intention is never to transform him again and you just want Dinomus on your shelf, I mean, you could always glue those forearm parts together. I mean, I don't know how easy it would ever be to get them off again, but I mean, it's an option if your print wasn't perfect. That brings us to the end of the 3D things. So for the 3D printed stuff from Justin, we had the Dinomus set, we had the head for Bumper, and we had the like be-all end-all set of the bits and pieces for Scorponok. I mean, if you think that that helps him or not. Then we get to the rest of the bits and pieces that were cast by Dragonfly. Namely, first and foremost, the blaster for Bumblebee and the blaster for Cliffjumper. Both of these were in the Centurion Pack. I think both of them were just gray in there. I painted the Cliffjumper one in a silver. I painted the Bumblebee one in a metallic blue. I'm again going to just show these real quick up close. There's Cliffjumper's blaster. By the way, you can see I've done a lot of custom paint on Cliffjumper, especially with the gray and the blacks and whatnot. I'm just saying we're getting a buzzworthy Cliffjumper, and I've kind of already done that. But yeah, so again, I don't have the handle painted, but it fits in his hand no problem. And a Bumblebee's blue blaster, which I think actually worked out really nicely. The next part of that set is Reflector, who was a pain to paint. Again, cast all the way around. You can see the back is kind of mushy, right? But the detail is certainly there. A lot of gray used here, some kind of periwinkle purple. We have some silver in the flash, and right in the lens we have some red detailing and a little bit of green chest detailing. It was a lot here. Now, I love this, but there is one little nuisance with it. You'll notice where I'm holding onto the peg. Well, while that's great now for somebody like Thundercracker to be able to hold our boy here, it's not exactly held in a position that would be conducive to taking a picture. I kind of wish that that peg was like on the side of the camera or something, maybe. Debatable, arguable, but I'm still certainly happy to have it because one of my gripes with the like Siege reflectors was, well, when you put them in camera mode, like, it's not usable by any character. It's far too big. This is a great way to have reflectors alt mode at a wonderfully usable size. Another case in point is Shockwave. The silver, both the 2 dots and up front, is accurate to his alt mode. I left the I don't know what you call it. Use it for focusing, I guess, or aiming. I left that translucent. The silver goes right around the front. Little purple detail up there on the top, up right here. Again, the handle isn't done, but I'm real happy with this as a usable version of Shockwave. In fact, here's Shockwave wielding himself from that one time in that one episode. Again, I think that this was gray in the actual Centurion pack. Yes, the purple doesn't match, but I just used the purple that was there. It'll be fine. I don't really, you know, I don't really care that much. It's nice to have the detail on it so that if I want Shockwave to transform into a usable blaster that can actually be wielded, he can do it. And next we come to Trailbreaker and his satellite. Yes, I know he's not supposed to hold his satellite in his hand in robot mode. I understand that it's supposed to go like attached here, maybe, in vehicle mode. I didn't want to transform the guy, to be quite honest with you. This again was clear. It was painted in a gloss gray. It was a nuisance to paint. There are a couple of little imperfections in the dish inside the dish itself, but it's not enough to not recognize that this is the satellite that he uses. So I'm pretty cool with that. Again, it's that like one thing in that one episode, but I'm glad to have it because you, especially when it comes to stop motion stuff, which I know I'm behind on, it just gives you like a little more versatility. It makes this guy a little more perfect because he does have that accessory that probably he should have had all along. Again, I think that this was just cast in gray in the actual pack, and honestly, I think the gray was the right color for it. I just had to do something with it, so that's what I colored it. Real quick break for just a second. We have what is essentially the head of Paleotrex, and we have a little handle. Both of these I do believe were you know, recast. Like, I don't think this is the actual head of Paleotrex. I don't think this is the actual handle. I don't think it was an extra that he had. I believe these were cast. I believe these were painted, and he attached, our buddy Dragonfly attached an actual chain. So Optimus Primal now has his mace. Yes, this isn't part of the Centurion pack, but that's why I said we'll just take a little break for a second. Again, he done this really when he cast the gut gun for Cheetor and whatnot. So really, I didn't expect to get this, but really cool little add-on accessory to have for Primal, just so he has his mace. Next, we have the item that, according to Dragonfly, was one of the toughest items to cast, and it is the, like, drill? I can't say drill blaster, it's just the drill that Ironhide used. Again, I painted mine black and silver, but you'll notice that the top up here is a little more rounded. It's not exactly what we would call sharp. It's because the way the resin cast was done and separated up here, it did get a little mushy at the very top. Really small potatoes, like not something I'm going to worry about at all. Just happy to have this because it makes Ironhide just a little bit more, I don't know, perfect, ideal. Now, he's not perfect. We all know that there are issues with the mold as a whole, but right now, at this moment, as of this recording, this is the most updated, accurate version of Ironhide that we have. Now, that being said, along with that, because we have Ironhide here, just a little aside for a second to our buddy Justin from the 3D Corner again. I have these foot fillers that I think they came from him. They may not have. If they didn't come from him, then I think they came from Grimlock Gone. I'm not sure who it was that gave me these now, and if it was somebody else and I have the name wrong, then I apologize, but they are foot fillers. And it could have been Joe Ford too. He might have sent them. I'm not sure who gave me those, but I definitely got those from someone. But I can tell you that Justin has arm fillers that he printed off for me. So yeah, so the arms can be, you know, filled. I'm like, I don't hate this mold. It's not perfect, but I don't hate this. And with the couple of little doodad add-ons that I got, I'm pretty happy with this Ironhide for the most part. Next up we have Sideswipe. Now I'm using this version of it because I don't have the Siege Sideswipe. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but What we do have now, even though there's a couple of chips on my paint, sadly, is the backpack. Now, I know that this was cast in gray in the original, in the actual set, but I also know that when Optimus Prime uses it and asks for Sideswipe's backpack, in the program, Sideswipe's backpack is red and his little boosters are white, so that's what I painted it, red and white. Real happy with this, actually, and especially happy that there's two pegs, so it can go attached to Sideswipe or it can go attached to Optimus. We'll see this on Optimus in just a moment, actually. But yeah, happy to have the backpack. It'll pretty much stay on my Sideswipe, but it sure does look neat on Optimus Prime's back as well. This, of course, is the Earthrise Optimus Prime, and he had two accessories in that pack. A gigantic version of his Ion Blaster. A lot of people have said that this is better sized and suited for the Power of the Primes Optimus or like MP Optimus. I'm cool with this Optimus having a gigantic Ion Blaster like that, and it is quintessentially the Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. Is it big? Yes. Does it look like the blaster? Absolutely. And then I also had the Axe cast, and much like with Kremzeek, I was wondering, how am I going to make this translucent thing look more like his axe? And what did I do? I, again, used the yellow stain, the hickory stain, I should say, and done a few coats on this, and I think it turned out really well. I was super duper happy with this. Between the Second Chance trailer, that has a roller, between the adapter that's on that so it really fits this guy, the Toy Hacks logos that are on that trailer, the paintwork I did here on the biceps and the back of the legs, the matrix in his chest, the axe, the Ion Blaster, I think this may very well, even his backpack now technically, I think this may very well be the ideal, quintessential Optimus Prime. That's how I feel about it at this point in time, and I don't know if we'd ever really get anything better. And that brings us to the last of the set, the last thing that I actually got, which is why I'm so late doing this, because it took our buddy quite a while to do it, because apparently it was quite challenging to do, but it's nonetheless the kind of one of the main things that I was looking forward to the most, and it's this Soundwave. Now, you might look at this and say, hey, that Soundwave is a lighter blue than the robot mode of Soundwave is for the Netflix or the Siege version. You're correct. Indeed, he is lighter blue. However, when you put this Soundwave into cassette player mode, there's a lot more lighter blue that's showing then. Not all of it, but there is a lot more lighter blue that is showing then. This was cast all in blue. It was a little bit of a nuisance to paint, and I had one very tiny circular Decepticon logo that was able to go right on the front to be his chest emblem. I'm going to, of course, show this up close, but this is the Soundwave I want. This is a Soundwave that is scaled to actually be like what we would think the size of a cassette player probably is. I'm so glad to have this Soundwave. Up close, the custom paint whatnot looks like this. It was super hard to do. Now, if I ever get sick of this, nor I don't think it looks very good, I do actually have a couple of spare copies that I could also paint up, but so far I'm pretty happy with this. And I think it's only fitting that I show him next to Soundwave in his cassette player mode as well. Yeah, man, like, I'm happy with this. The lighter blue on the small version does kind of match this blue paint. It doesn't match the dark blue, but you know what? The gold that goes around the rectangular chest part doesn't match the yellow on this either. But, like, man, like, come on, it's Soundwave, right? You know, it's Soundwave, right? I'm pretty happy with this. I have to say, with the help of both Justin and Dragonfly, I really am thankful to have all of these parts, bits, pieces, and I'm thankful that I had the wherewithal to kind of customize them somewhat. Are any of these things necessary? No, probably not. But do they add value? Do they add just a little something more, just a little closer to ideal representations of many of these characters? Absolutely yes. And here we are once again, and here I am once again with the box of items. I'm super happy about the Reflector. I do wish that the peg was in a different location. I'm super happy with the Soundwave because I always wanted Soundwave to be the robot he should be, but when he transforms, I always want him to be small to scale, and now he is. I'm super happy, for example, with Shockwave as well. Then we get to some of the things that just make characters a little more perfect, idyllic, whatever you want to call it. That being, for example, the blaster to go with Cliff Jumper. By the way, you can see what I did to custom paint my Cliff Jumper. Buzzworthy, anybody? We could see the paint work and whatnot, the sculpt work that was done for the satellite for Trailbreaker, which I really like. Or, of course, the huge blaster for Optimus Prime and his axe. Now, all that being said, I'm sure that you noticed throughout that there were certain imperfections. Remember, this was cast from a mold, basically, right? And this was done kind of like a garage kit, basically. So, you know, certain things and certain imperfections are to be expected. Some of them were able to be covered up by paint. Some of them were highlighted by paint. So it is what it is. In terms of the 3D printed parts, I really like the head for Bumper. Admittedly, the mouth is a little mushy on it and could have been probably done a bit better, but you know, I didn't need another Bumblebee. I really didn't need another Bumblebee. A Bumper? I certainly did. But of all of this, by the way, the Dinomus set is pretty neat, assuming that the wrist things or the forearm things can really tab together well. And I don't think you're going to be able to transform it like I said. But the thing that I think I'm happiest with through it all is Optimus Prime's axe. I had that and I was like, this is great. It's not yellow. What am I going to do? Realizing that it was a mold, realizing that it was imperfect, the hickory stain, man, oh man, that worked out beautifully. A few coats on it, but man, that really worked out well. I was skeptical at first, but I'm really happy with it. I never would have thought of using stain like that for some customizing, but I'm happy with the final results. And now, between the trailer and roller, and of course the trailer I use is the second chance one, and roller, and now the big blaster, and the axe, and the matrix, gotta say, I think that Earthrise Kingdom Optimus may very well just be my quintessential Optimus for the rest of my days collecting. Anyway, let me know what you think about everything we looked at here. I know that there was a lot of stuff, and I know some of it was a little weird and a little niche and a little this and a little that. Let me know if you think it was a success or not a success. I'm happy with it considering I wasn't able to get the official pack. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know, man, how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.